sevens is super unforgiving. Like you miss a tackle, they score a try. Everything is a one-on-one battle. It's in 15s, you got all these guys around you. If you kind of stuff up, there's someone covering you. You can kind of hide in the middle or on the wing. In sevens, you're so exposed. And usually there isn't someone next to you for 5 to 10 meters each way. So you got a one-on-one tackle. You got to beat your man one-on-one. And if you miss it, there's really no one else to blame. And it can turn like that. Like you can be up 14-0 and within 2 phases, it's 14-0 and the game's back on. We kind of have a saying, the game's not dead until you are 3 converted tries ahead with about a minute to play. Then you can probably go, we're going to be okay here. But seriously, besides that, yeah, that's a huge buffer, but it turns. Like I've had games where we've been playing Fiji and you're up, let's just say 15-0 with about a minute and a half to go and we lose it 17-15 or something like that, something really small. And you're just like, oh my God. And that's a really good example of our team not dealing with pressure. And I think the reputation Australia had, our team for the last kind of 4 years, is we're young and we're inexperienced, we're really talented, but when the heat comes on and when, you have to really nail your shot or deal with the pressure, we crumbled and we were boys playing men. And I think that's a factor of the sevens in Australia was so long looked as a stepping stone into 15s. And you'd have all these good players come in at 18, 19, 20, and then they'd leave. Where other teams, it was its kind of own vertical pillar in their rugby business. And they had these men that were 30, 28, 29, 30 with 50 caps under the belt versus people like me with 10. So that was kind of our reputation, but that has shifted over the last kind of 2-3 years now. And we've had a big focus on dealing with that pressure, dealing with the unforgivingness of the sport and keeping a core group of players together, because the only way you can get better really is by experiencing the losses, experiencing the stuff-ups on the field. And now I've got this team, which is all roughly around 24, 25, 26, 27 at the right age, who have made enough mistakes and have won enough games as well to know how to deal with that pressure. But yeah, I've always been okay at it. I've always kind of enjoyed it. But, it's a 7-man, it's a team sport. And if, 6 of you are good at it and 1 of you is bad at it, it doesn't matter. We've got to be a whole kind of squad that can deal with pressure at once. So we've been doing a lot of stuff for training, just trying to perform under pressure. It's hard to simulate when it's not on the ground, not on the field, but we're doing our best because we've been bad at it in the past.
Yeah, I would love to hear some examples of how your team tries to at least emulate some of that pressure that's created on field. So are there any strategies specifically that your team uses and that you use personally, given the accountability that is involved in this sport, especially to actually prepare yourself better for the pressure on the day?
Definitely. With COVID happening, we haven't played for a year, so we've had to emulate that pressure through training. So at the end of training, there'll be a kind of like a pressure moment, we call it the golden point moment, where the coach will go, okay, one-on-one track, everyone watch, and 2 players will put their hand up and the whole team will be watching them, and they have to have a competition, and the person with the ball has got to try and score a try in this parameter and the person's got to defend him. And that's a pressure moment. And you got to try and we expect the person to score, but we also expect the person to defend. So it's like, well, who's going to win here? Or we might say, okay, goal kicker, go on the 15 meters, 22 meters out, hit the goal to win the game. And we'll all be watching there. And if they miss it, they miss it. And I've got a little tally in the back of my book. So I won't always put my hand up to do them every weekend, every training session. But when I do, I'll then go to the back of my tally and I'll have wins and losses. And I want to obviously see more wins compared to losses, but every time I put myself in those pressure moments of training and I lose, that's a step closer to winning it on the field. Like you've got to get them out of your system. You've got to experience that loss in training at least before you try and do it on the field. So I've got this big kind of table in the back of my book at training, my kind of scrapbook, and there's this big tally going win, loss, win, loss, win, 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 loss. And that's just a little thing for me to just keep track of how I'm progressing. And it's one of the better things we can do, but the best is obviously playing. But we're not playing at the moment, which is frustrating. The Olympics are around the corner, so it's the best I can do to prep for the Olympics for now.
And a couple of short follow-ups on that. First of all, how's the tally looking? And secondly, is there anything else you write down generally in regards to your training and progress as a professional athlete?
The tally's looking okay. It's good. It's like I said. When I look at the losses, it's a win for me on the field. Like, I want to lose some of them, not on purpose, but it's not a bad outcome. But then again, you don't want to be losing all the time either. I'm too competitive, man. Like, when I get on there and I've got to do a one-on-one track with someone, I'll fucking chase them to the end and do whatever I need to do to win. It's kind of my motto: do whatever you need to do to win. And it can rub people the wrong way. I know that. And at training, I've worked really, really hard at being able to flick a switch, so I can be your best mate and be buddy and joking and laughing and be one of the boys until I walk over that white line. Like, no matter what it is, even if training's not meant to be 100%, I'm kind of that guy that's always on the edge. It's just my nature, I guess. It can be exhausting, but it's also what's needed for the sport. And I've been trying to teach boys to be like that in the team and bring them with me. And not that I'm the only one, there's a few of us. And there's a kind of core group of us saying, this is what we need every time we go into training. We need to be here getting better every single time. We need to be competing every single time. Can never just go through the motions. So that's been a long and hard progression, but we're getting there, and we're definitely going in the right direction and on the right side of that fence. And in regards to writing things down, not really. Besides like plays, and obviously we have this book that we keep notes in and all of that. But I'm not like superstitious, or I don't have like a something that I need to kind of lean on to switch on. But if I'm rattled on the field, if I feel I'm chasing the game, I kind of just take a moment, have a breath, breathe, slow down, go again.